Hey, how's it going, everybody? Jamie McDonald here with Mike Beaning, episode number 8 of Mirrorless Minutes. We've got a really cool guest on that we're excited to have, Chris Smith. He's involved with the Out of Chicago conference, I guess. Oh, there he is. Cool. We've been having some technical difficulties leading up to this moment, so we weren't sure when exactly he would join us, but he is here now.
You can hear me.
There he is.
Yeah, we can hear you great. No longer sound like a chipmunk, which is awesome.
I thought maybe you were doing your Christmas version of Out of Chicago.
I would have sang it for you.
He's bringing a whole different level of entertainment to the show tonight. At first, before the show started rolling, Chris was on, and he sounded literally like Elvin, Simon, or Theodore, one of those three guys. So it's good.
Three.
Yeah, all three at once. Good to have you on, Chris. We're excited to have you on. We've been looking forward to this episode for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
So nice to meet you, Jamie. Mike, I know, but Jamie, this is our first time, so thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for coming on. Again, like I said, for everybody that's tuning in or that is going to watch us after the live broadcast, it's pretty exciting. We got some cool stuff to talk about. Or Chris really is the one who's going to have some really cool stuff to talk about. So I guess we could just kind of lead off the show. We're gonna have Chris introduce himself. Let us and you know a little bit more about him and some information about the Out of Chicago conference. So if you don't mind taking a minute, Chris, just kind of introduce yourself and let us know who you are.
All right, you got it. So my name is Chris Smith, and I run the site outofchicago.com. And one day I decided that rather than just doing photo walks and tours, we ought to all get together and do this huge conference. And it's turned into something really big. It's been awesome. So we had the first one last year, and this summer it's going to be June 26th through 28th. We haven't officially announced it. We haven't opened registration yet, but we will right in the beginning of January. And it's going to be great. We've got like 25, 30 presenters coming from all over the world, really. We got people from London, Switzerland, all over the U.S., and a ton of my Chicago friends teaching, and some other special guests who we'll talk about in a few minutes. But the great thing about the conference is it's right in the heart of Chicago, and so you're not just in some conference center or hotel in the middle of the suburbs. You're right in Chicago, and then not only do you get to learn in these classes, but you go out on photo walks as well. The presenters take you out on the photo walks, and we did it last year. It was awesome. It's going to be even better this year. So that's the basics. We can go into as much detail as you want, though. I'm telling you, this has consumed my life the last, for a while now, we'll say.
All right, cool. So if you've got a second to talk about maybe a few of the presenters that you have coming, that would be really exciting. I know that you mentioned you've got, it's an international event. You've got presenters coming from outside of the United States. So if you could take a minute maybe to speak about who you have coming in, that would be pretty exciting to hear.
Let's do it. So our featured presenters. So we have Brian Peterson. You got to know Brian Peterson. He's written, you go to Barnes & Noble, he's written all the books, Understanding Exposure and everything else, and you see him in the Adorama videos. He's going to be one of our featured presenters. One of them I'm really excited to meet is Elliot Locardi. You probably know Elliot Locardi from Facebook, Google+. He's huge, millions of followers. He travels the world, doesn't even have a permanent home, and he's going to be in Chicago. No, he really doesn't. He lives out of the back of his car, but he's coming to teach, and he's great with HDR, and he's going to be an amazing speaker. Also, Mike Moats, he's from your guys' area in Detroit area there. So Mike Moats is coming. Maybe you guys should get a ride with him.
Well, I was just thinking, he's I think he's about 5 miles from me. So
exactly, yeah, I know. I went to go talk to him last summer and put him on my podcast, and that was a lot of fun. But we got a lot of street photographers coming too. As a matter of fact, the tagline for the conference is going to be. No one knows this yet. Maybe a couple people know secretly, but the tagline is going to be "Hitting the Streets," and so it's going to be Out of Chicago 2015, Hitting the Streets. So for street photographers, we've got our favorite Valerie Chardon. That's how Mike and I met. It was on her her workshop. We've got Marie Lagneau. Did you happen to see her last year, Mike?
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, if anyone goes out of Chicago, I don't care if you're a street photographer or not, you need to see her.
Yeah, well,
amazing presentation.
She converts people. All my friends are like, "Well, I never did street photography, but now I want to." After seeing her presentation.
And let me mention something real quick there, Jamie. When you get there, she has a Leica, so there you go. You'll be able to see it. Jamie was going, "I need to see a Leica." I said, "Well, she's got one."
I asked her. I had her on my podcast as well, and I asked her. I said, why the Leica? I mean, it doesn't even you don't even have autofocus. And she said,
Yeah.
things were getting too easy. I had to challenge myself.
Hmm.
Like, oh, come on, jeez, you're just too good, aren't you, Marie? So that's Marie Legno. But then the guy that I'm super excited about. This is from Switzerland. Is Thomas Luthard, and
Yeah.
he is an amazing street photographer. And he shoots all Olympus. He's got the same camera that I do, the EM10. He's got two
Hmm.
of them, and he just walks around, and the shots that he gets are amazing. I can't wait to see what he does in Chicago, and he's going to take people out, and that's going to be great. So Thomas
Yeah,
Luthard,
he's fantastic.
he's amazing. And then we got all my favorite Chicago people: John Crouch, Angie McMonigal, Nick Ulivari, and then Jason M. Peterson. He's huge on Instagram. We got a bunch of Instagram people. It's amazing what they can do with their phones, shooting architecture and that. So that's going to be great. And well, let's say this. Most importantly, two very special guests. This is amazing, Jamie. And Mike, this is announced right now. No one knows this. We're announcing it right here. That both
Live.
Jamie and Mike will be coming and will be teaching and leading photo walks and doing everything at the Out of Chicago conference. Isn't that right, guys?
Indeed,
Yeah.
very excited.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's going to be fantastic.
I'm
I'm
so
sure
excited for
people
you
are
guys.
flying to it right now.
It's
It
gonna
will be good. It'll be a lot of fun. I think one of the things there that last year when I went that I liked the most was probably just the camaraderie you end up making with everyone else that you absolutely don't know, and again, I think there were a lot of people I met not from Chicago there, so I can only imagine this year is going to be even more.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to have a couple differences this year. I mean, I'll just throw them out there that last year was a day and a half. This year is going to be 2.5 days. So it's going to be, Friday evening and then all day Saturday, all day Sunday. And we're going to, well, I mean, obviously we're going to have some different presenters. We got you guys and all these other people, so that's going to make it different. But the other thing we're going to try and do is we're going to have smaller photo walks. People are going to sign up for them, and so we're going to limit it to maybe 10 people or 15 people in a photo walk. It's fun to get out there 40 or 50 people together, but then you get lost.
It gets a little, it gets a little unruly trying to put 40 or 50 in Chicago.
Right. So we're going to organize it. We're going to have smaller groups. It's going to be a great time. And like you said, the camaraderie is the best part. That was my original intention too. Was we know all these people on Google Plus, and we know them on Facebook, and we know them on Flickr. But to actually get together and hang out with them, I mean, you make really lasting friendships. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like that you're structuring it so that the photo walks are smaller. It's a lot more intimate. A lot of people, when they get in a larger group like that, they get lost. They're not prepared to kind of stand out in front and ask questions if they need help with something. And if you keep it small like you guys are doing, I mean, that's incredible for people of all levels. I think it's really cool to hear that. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that part's going to be really good. And also the other thing we're going to change is that the first year I just planned everything the way that I would want it. And if it were me, I like to shoot, when I'm shooting in Chicago, I shoot at sunset and then into the evening, and I shoot at night. I never shoot during the day. So all of our photo walks last year, well, hey, it made sense to me. We're all at night. Well, this year we're going to change it. All the street photographers were like, hey, it was dark out. What's going on? Well, that's how I like to shoot Chicago. So we're going to change it up. And so, like, if it's like, say, period 2 or whatever, session 2 of the day, you could sign up for a class, or you could sign up to do a photo walk, at 9 or 10 in the morning or whatever. And so the street photographers will be doing their photo walks during the day, and the rest of us will be out at night.
Yeah, that's excellent then. No, I like that. That's much better, I think, to get everybody out there.
I think people are going to be super excited about it. And so I don't mean to put you on the spot, but maybe I should. Do you guys know what you're going to be talking about at all when you come out there?
Well,
you're going to have a big strategy meeting on this.
What do you think? Yeah, we haven't had our strategy meeting. That's this Sunday, but but I can tell you at least a little bit coming from my perspective. I think it's going to be more about Jamie's a certain type of photographer. I'm a certain type of photographer, but both of us have limited time because we do have jobs like yourself, Chris, that's outside of the photography world. And mine takes me a certain place, yours takes you a certain place, and Jamie's, and I think we're going to talk about how do you wrap your photography around it, how do you travel light, how do you get to these places and maximize the time that you have, whatever time it is. How do you maximize an hour or maybe you're away on vacation and you got 2 hours away from the wife and the kids, and you want to do something in a city. Let's get some ideas thrown together there, and so we'll show some kits, I think, and Jamie, what do you think? Stuff like that for sure. We'll have a very strict, structured agenda eventually.
Yeah.
Certain of it.
And the whole kit thing, you want to tell them the other huge announcement we have too?
Yeah, I mean, I'll let Jamie say that.
Sure. So Chris has been in talks with a few key people at Olympus and kind of set it up so that Olympus.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Olympus is going to be the headline sponsor for the Out of Chicago conference. What you can expect from that is going to be, obviously there's going to be a lot of Olympus representation there between Mike, myself, Thomas is flying in, which is, I'm going to go into fanboy mode, when I meet him. That's really exciting for me.
Yeah.
But, one of the other perks about having somebody like Olympus there as a headline sponsor is going to be that they'll have technical representatives there, and they're going to bring what we call live drive kits. So they'll have probably EM1s and EM10s and maybe something from the pen line or something along those lines. And then they'll have a whole slew of lenses that you can choose from, and you'll be able to borrow those, loan those out, for a day for your walk or possibly for the weekend. Depending on the length of these events, sometimes Olympus will actually set it up so you can get a live drive kit for a couple of days. It doesn't cost you anything. You just need to provide some proof of ID or whatever, for their insurance purposes or what have you. But you'll have the same gear that Mike and I and Thomas will be shooting with and that Chris has. And it makes going on the walks that we'll be doing a whole lot. We can interact with you on a whole different level than somebody who's showing up with a different brand, obviously. We can relate to the gear you've got. So, like I said, Olympus will be there. They'll have gear that you can check out. They'll have a lot of the stuff that you maybe are interested in trying, that you've never gotten your hands on because some of it's hard to find or because you don't have access to a store that carries it. They'll have a whole bunch of different gear for you to check out. And that's one of the things that I really like about these types of events where they're at, is that other people get a chance to try out different gear. And again, just by being at the Out of Chicago conference, you get access to this equipment for free.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, we did the Lansing photo walk there, Chris, for the Kelby photo walk, and Jamie had all these live drive kits there, and we were sort of batting them off, because they all wanted to borrow them. But when he says a slew of lenses, I mean that Pelican case.
There were probably 50 lenses in that case, in addition to what came in the actual live drive kits themselves. So.
Right. And 4/3 stuff too, so it wasn't all micro 4/3. And
there was
could really
a big
try
selection.
a whole different thing out.
Yeah,
that'll be a lot of fun, and it'll make it easy to interact. I think too, the people that come through at least our presentation, we could be talking about it. They go out later on, borrow one of those kits.
Exactly.
That type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, what could be better? I mean, they learn it from you. They go out and they're actually shooting right in the heart of Chicago with you guys, answering any questions that they have. I mean, it couldn't be any better.
Yeah,
Very exciting.
Yeah, and they get to keep their memory card.
Yes, they do.
They don't have to turn it in.
The memory card.
not the lenses and camera.
Yeah, not the lens. They can't keep the lenses and camera.
So, is there anything else that you can think of that you might want to mention about the Out of Chicago conference? I know that you said it's in the heart of Chicago. As far as lodging and things like that are concerned, I'm going to just go out on a limb here and assume that there are plenty of places very close by, so that it's not like long commutes or difficult commutes for people that are attending.
Yeah, no, we're going to have all the information on the site, but we've got a block of rooms, and we got a couple different places, a couple different options depending on how much people want to spend, but we'll have all that up there. Once it gets announced in January, it's all going to be on the site, and I think that so this is like a plug here, I suppose. I'm not going to actually announce it until after I've already sent the information to everybody that's like on my subscriber list for Out of Chicago. If you go to www.outofchicago.com and subscribe, you'll get the information first for signing up for the conference. And that's going to be a big deal because, like I said, people like Mike and Jamie and Thomas or whatever, they're going to lead photo walks, and we might limit it to only 10 people. That means the first 10 people that get to sign up for that are in. And so some of those things are going to fill up before it even goes up on my website. So if you want to be the first in on the information, you want to sign up at outofchicago.com.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get that linked in the show notes for sure. There, and then how about the the actual conference site? Is that a link live that I've seen?
Sorta.
Yeah, sort of. Okay, then I'm not going to put that in there yet.
Yeah.
I'll wait till you announce it, and then we'll drop it in there.
It's all secretive, but it is out there somewhere if you look for it. Yes, you're right.
Well, I know that's. I mean, we won't put it in there right now. I just have a sneaky feeling between now and June we might have you back on and talk about it again.
I hope so. Yeah. No, I know it's going to be an amazing event, and we got a lot of people really interested in it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we got Olympus on board. We got other sponsors too, and like I said, we got people coming in from all over, and we got a bunch of other people that I'm in the process of still lining up. So it's going to be a great lineup of people. Excellent.
That it's going to be a lot of fun. How about so I know Chris. We put I think. Your link to your book, and as I've been putting on a Facebook, that you've wrote the book about Chicago, and a lot of people that might not know Chris have to understand he's actually from Detroit. So yeah, I had to say it because it's important.
That's true.
But in all seriousness, the book's fantastic, and I think that's one of the things I'd like to, if you can. Maybe give us a tidbit from it, and we'll put it in the links again so people can check it out. But where's a place, if you got a couple hours, you could go shoot. If you're, maybe down in the Loop or something in that area.
Yeah.
That you really like.
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple really cool places. I don't know if they're 2-hour places. If you're looking for a 2-hour place, or make it a 6-hour place, I say that you find your way up to the Chicago Botanic Garden, because that's an amazing place. Even in the winter, if you get snow and stuff, it's really cool. But down in the Loop, there's some great spots. They're the type of spots that, like, if you walked by it, like anyone that had a cell phone or anything would be like, oh, geez, I gotta shoot that. Anyone would know it. But you'd never know to go there unless you knew it was there. So, like, one of those places is the L stop at Adams and Wabash. It's right at the Loop there, so the L's going by. You go up top, but then you'll notice there's like a catwalk type of thing that goes up and over, so you can get over to the other side and head the other direction. But once you get up to that thing, you're looking straight down the L, and you're seeing the Trump Tower at the end of it. That's a great spot. I could show you some pictures too. I don't know if we're getting to that time, but
sure.
When we get there, I can show you too.
Absolutely, let's see it.
All right, so we had our technical difficulties, but help me out here. What do I need to do to screen share this?
You do that. I'm gonna change something real quick.
All right, so over on the left-hand side of your screen, if you move the cursor over, a little menu bar will pop out.
Got it.
And you should see the second one down looks like a little green window with an arrow. That's the screen share button.
All right.
When you click on that, it's going to show you all the windows that you have available to share, and you just click on whichever one you have your photos in, and it should bring that up front.
Okay, so
excellent.
So, Jamie, how do I get back if I hit profile there?
So that you can see what Chris is sharing?
Yeah, so I can jump back in, yeah.
I just clicked on his picture because I don't know how to get it to auto switch.
Oh, I got you. Maybe if I click, I'm back on you.
All right, are you seeing my Lightroom here then?
Yes, and that shot is incredible.
All right, well, thanks. I got a bunch of different ones. This one is kind of skewed or whatever, but I like this one, and I wanted to bring this up because this is the type of shot that I probably would have never had taken before I had my mirrorless camera. Back in the day, setting up on the tripod, getting everything perfectly straight. But when I'm out shooting with my EM10, I'm just shooting from the hip. I'm just all over the place. And this one, I took a ton of different shots up here, and it was kind of neat to get something different than other people had. But yes, this is that place at Adams and Wabash. It's really cool to shoot there. All right, so can I scroll through some other ones then?
Oh, yeah, we'd love it.
You guys can see this, huh?
Yes.
All right. All right, so this picture here, I don't know how long it takes to come up there, but But this one is of well, I was with the family. We were pumpkin picking, and there was like a little hole in these hay bales. So I followed my son down into it, and I had no idea it led to this huge long tunnel. But I happened to have that EM10 with me, and so it was so nice. I didn't have to leave the camera behind. I'm following right behind him the whole way. Got this really cool shot of him coming through the tunnel with the light at the end of it, and got the silhouette. That's the other great thing about these mirrorless cameras is you're looking through the viewfinder, you're seeing it on the back exactly how it's going to look, not like a DSLR where you're trying to guess what the exposure is going to be. You see exactly what it's going to be, and you change your exposure compensation, and you just nail the shot. And this was one of my favorites. So we're still good there?
Oh, yeah, I'm loving this.
All right, so let's see. I wanted to throw on this one because here we are in Detroit here. Mike took us out. I don't remember if this is a night we were with you, Mike, or a different night, but this was one of the parking garages we went to, and just the graffiti going up the fire escapes there. That was an awesome one. Like I said, my favorite time to shoot is at night. I mean, a shot like this, I feel like during the day isn't going to be much, but with the glow of the windows and the way the graffiti was lit up, that was pretty cool. And then I said the Botanic Gardens. So here's like a tip. Go out and shoot during the snow. When it's snowing, get out there. This is the middle of one of those big, huge blizzards we had last winter, and I went to the Botanic Garden, and the advantage of it is that all this area down in the lower left and everything, there's like a pond there, there's all these rocks, tons of distractions, but when the snow starts to cover everything, sometimes it'll cover everything except for what you want to see. So you see the bench, you see the trees from the Japanese islands, and that's about it. So that's the Botanic Gardens, and that's my tip.
Yeah, jeez.
And this is one of my favorites, so I thought I'd throw it in there. This is one of the places in the book. This is from the Museum of Contemporary Art. And the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago, the museum's very, very strange. Like, you walk into one room, or at least when I was there, you go into this room, it's got shag carpeting and speakers mounted in the ceiling, and it's like as you walk around, it plays these weird sounds, and that was the art. But it has this amazing staircase, and that's what you want to go for if you're a photographer. This one was taken with a fisheye lens, but you go up to the top of this thing, down to the bottom, and you shoot it all different directions. That's the Museum of Contemporary Art. That's one of my favorites.
Do you like the fisheye lens, Chris?
I do love the fisheye lens. Yes.
I know. Well, the problem is you got 3 guys on here now.
I do love it, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but I actually do not at this point have a fisheye lens for my Olympus. I need to get that still. So I'm so interested in your post that you made the other day. Yeah. So I got to figure that one out, which one to get. And I'll give you one more here. All right, so this is another staircase. So this is from another building. It's called the Dirt Building in Chicago, and just kind of a normal-looking spiral staircase. But I stood straight underneath it, not a big thing, and just shot straight up, and really cool patterns there. So lots of great stuff to shoot in Chicago.
Yeah, I've seen that building. I never realized that was there.
Yeah, you mean for this one in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I probably. There's really, you see in those pictures, that's probably only 5 pictures you can get in Chicago, right, Chris? I mean, really.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say the exact opposite. Every time I go down to shoot in Chicago and I'm leaving to go back home, it's like 1 or 2 in the morning. Every time I leave, I feel like, gosh, there's so much I didn't get to every single time. So there's so much to shoot here.
Yeah.
So just out of curiosity, I know that it's really premature to discuss things like this, but I'm going to ask anyways because I want to do this. Do you know if you will be having anybody there that is going to focus on architecture, or will you do that? Because those shots are really inspiring, and it's not something that I shoot normally, but seeing those photos make me think, oh my gosh, I am totally missing out on a whole another side of photography.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those people that I mentioned, my Chicago friends, so John Crouch, Angie McMonigal, that's all they shoot, and basically I steal all my ideas from them. So yes, you'll be able to learn from them. They're fantastic.
Angie's really good too. I definitely listen to her, and amazing stuff that they know.
And so I'm going to assume also that some of the places that you shared these photos of are in your book.
Oh yeah, yep. Those places I think are all in the
All right,
book.
you just sold one tonight.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, I love
Well,
that.
thank you. Thank you very much. All right, cool. So yeah, that's the conference. There's my pictures. I feel like I can sit back and listen to you guys now, like I
Yeah.
normally do on the show.
Well, you kind of owned the whole show, and it was totally worth every single second of
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah. No, that's definitely. But
you're a tough act to follow at this point.
well, Jamie, you should share some of your stuff from the Envision Festival though too. That's some of your shots, right?
Sure. Yeah, I've got a few
Yeah.
to share.
Yeah.
So, on the last show, I spoke about going to the Envision Photo Festival that Olympus does every year, and part of that also is that Olympus does what we call the Visionary Summit. And just kind of a recap for people who might not have heard last week's show. So we go there. It's a great weekend, There's a lot of team building and team bonding, with the other people that are in the Visionary program. And we also get this really cool round table where we can sit down at the end of the summit and we get to talk with people from R&D coming from Olympus Tokyo, and we get to give them feedback on product, what we like, what we don't like, feature requests, things of that nature. And it's a really great time, We had a couple of the people in the Visionary program gave presentations. They did a class on photographing your children. It was just a phenomenally great time. So I'll share a few photos and talk just a little bit about, what each one of them is. And I'll start off with, this is where a lot of the event takes place. It's called Steel Stacks. It's in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Oh, cool.
It's a retired steel mill. Urbexer's craziest dream ever. Sadly, the security is beyond anything that you would probably see at any location in Detroit. Motion sensors and security patrols and things of that nature. So sadly, all of the photos I've got of Steel Stacks from outside of it. But directly across from the steel mill here, there's the big Arts Quest Center, and that's where a lot of the events of the weekend took place. It's where the two Trailblazers did their presentation on child portraiture, and there's also the it's like basically the big party for Envision. We have drinks and dinner and the slide luck presentations where people present slideshows of their work, and Olympus actually has a band that plays there. It's pretty exciting. And it's all in this one area. It's a big giant steel complex that's retired, and they've turned it into this big, humongous arts complex now. So that's the steel mill. One night I went out with a couple of members of the program, Tracy McGlosky and Alex McClure, and my bestest buddy ever from Olympus, Jennifer Colucci, was there, and we did some light painting.
Nice.
And so, of course, we had to do a steel wool spin. What I kind of set up this shot here was there's actually this arch that goes kind of out over the road. It's a big curved piece of steel that they have flames coming out of the top of at night. At this point, though, they had shut the flames off because it was about midnight or 1 o'clock, but I wanted to get the shot set up so that we were spinning underneath it so you get the wool bouncing off the top of it. And here I used the fisheye that I'm going to recommend to you, Chris. It's the Rokinon 7.5 millimeter fisheye.
Absolutely. Yep.
Phenomenal lens. I mean, for the money, it's like the best investment ever.
Yep.
So, steel wool spin in between security patrols because, when you do this, it attracts a lot of attention.
You're not saying it was illegal, are you?
No, I don't think it's illegal at all. It's probably frowned upon, though.
Oh, you didn't want to get frowned at, okay.
Yeah. This was actually the Olympus band Peripheral Vision, and this was at the Slide Luck photo show that was going on, the big party. It was just a great time that, one of those things that Olympus puts together and the arts community gets together there, and it's just a great time. And I like shooting, I shared it like on YouTube, this little setup that I do to shoot black and white, a couple of settings in my camera, and I fire out a RAW plus a JPEG, and this is just the straight out of camera JPEG that I shot, and I think I was using probably like the Voigtlander 25mm f.95 because it was kind of dark in there. The next shot is in the studio of Olympus visionary John Sterling Ruth. I've been in several studios in my life. I've never been in a studio big enough to hold like a semi-truck. So John has like the most incredible studio I've ever seen in my life, and this is pretty much the entire visionary team. There are a few people that are missing from this. Jay Dickman was in Patagonia with his daughter hiking for 4 weeks, something that I can honestly say I have never done. And another member who was not there is David Wells, and I think David was in Morocco teaching classes there. But everybody else that's in the program is present in this photo, plus Jennifer Colucci and Stephanie Sherry. They're kind of like the managers of the Visionary program. So this was at a cocktail party at John's studio. The next shot.
You were looking good there, Jamie.
Pardon me?
You were looking good there.
I think I actually took that photo. Maybe I was doing a lot of the photos, via the iShare app wirelessly. That was shot, and like I said, in his studio with my camera. One of the things that, if you were there for the Envision Photo Festival, they had these workshops that you could sign up for and different presentations. And one of the things that you could sign up for was to spend a day at artist Steve Tobin's gallery. Steve Tobin is an internationally renowned sculptor and artist. He's got installations at Ground Zero. I think he's got one in Chicago, actually. Tokyo. He's got them all over the world. And this is a portrait of Steve Tobin. He was there to speak with us. We got to spend time talking to him, kind of pick his brain on his creative process. And he's standing in one of his, I don't want to call it a sculpture, it's just one of his art pieces. It's called the Lantern House, and it's basically all these film slides arranged and lit from inside. It's a really incredible piece to stand inside of. But when he was done doing his presentation, we just kind of, the group, when I say we, hung out and just did some portraits of him when he was there. So it was kind of a really cool experience. And
it's
this
like
last
Instagram house, doesn't it?
Doesn't it, right? And this last shot, again, all these photos, these last two photos, they were taken at his warehouse/gallery in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. And it's humongous warehouse. I mean, gigantic. A lot of these sculptures that you can see in the background of this photo, and this sculpture right here, I think this one was one of the really short ones, and it was probably like 8 feet tall. A lot of the sculptures are 25, 30 plus feet tall steel sculptures. And, again, like I said, part of the whole thing was if you were part of the Envision Photo Festival, and when I say you, I mean the general public could sign up for these things. We had a 4-hour hangout at his gallery, and we just got to hang out with people and just kind of do the photo walk thing, I guess. So that's just kind of a short, quick recap of my weekend there. And
I'm jealous.
Yeah. It was a fun event. Go next year.
Yeah.
I got to meet a friend of Mike's there. She came in. Victoria was there. It was kind of cool to put faces to some of these people that we talked to.
Yeah, Victoria online. Was on the workshop in Chicago. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and she also was out with Derek Story last year in San Francisco. So she was a big Chris Smith follower before I even told her about you. I said, "Whoa,
super cool."
Yeah. All right.
Awesome. So how about you, Mike?
Yeah, let's see some photos.
Let's see. All right, I didn't go to any conferences, but I can guarantee I traveled. I'm positive.
Yeah, you said that earlier. You said, how your job takes you. My job takes me nowhere, Mike.
Yeah, well.
High school. I'd go to the high school. That's it.
Yeah. All right. Can you guys see that one?
We see.
I see your Finder window.
Yeah.
You see my Finder window? You don't see the big horse?
I don't.
We see 5 photos in the Finder window.
Yes. All right. Let's see here. I see that. All right. Well, let's do this. You guys hang on.
Just choose a different window.
Not so.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go grab a different window real quick here. Sorry about this. This has been an interesting show.
It has.
Yeah.
It's been the show of technical difficulties.
Yeah, it sure has.
The best Mirrorless minutes yet, though. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, I know it is. I mean, all right. So hold on. We'll get back here. Let's go back. Screen share. Try it this way. Hold on. All right. There it is. Right there. And let's go. How about that?
There we go.
Got it? The horses?
Yes.
All right. Phew. I was wondering if I was going to start talking like a chipmunk soon.
That's my job.
Yeah. All right. Well, so this is shot in Old Town, North Scottsdale, out there on business. But this is one of our shots with mine's I did an OMD EM1, but the same deal is in the EM10 as well. This live composite mode, and I've been going crazy with live composite modes. In fact, I have 2 in this series here.
I've been trying it more too since you brought it up. I haven't done it yet for Star Trails though. This looks great.
Yeah, this one here, I knew I was gonna. This actually was in a turnabout, so there are cars going around in the corners. You can see them. Again, this is shot with. This is actually shot with a Panasonic 8mm fisheye, and I think these light trails are really sharp when you do it with the fisheye because they get that curve area, as opposed to just going straight across maybe. But this is a 48-minute shot.
Wow.
Where they were going off about every second to a second and a half, I believe. And as all that was going around, I was walking around with my high-powered flashlight light painting, because this thing isn't lit at all. I was light painting all the horses and stuff, and of course people were driving past me.
Yeah.
Numerous people, because the town is open and stores. This is all around stores, so they're all screaming out, "What and how? What are you doing?" I just said I was, cleaning the horses and stuff, but yeah, it took a while to get it, and the color shot looks okay, but I think when you make it black and white, it really, it starts to show a little bit more depth with the horses and that, and it's just amazing. Just love this live composite. I can't say enough about it, and I keep trying to keep coming up with some different ways to do it too. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's a great shot.
Yeah. And then the next one, Chris may have seen this before. That's the blue line whipping through there, as coming through. And actually, part of this here was I was just in Chicago 2 weeks ago, trying to catch up on my assignments, because you may or may not know, but I'm working in the Arcanum with Valerie Jardin, and obviously we have assignments. I'm trying to, catch up on these things. I said, I got to get to Chicago. I can get good stuff there. So definitely got some nice motion. This is taken with the 17mm prime, and
That's what I use.
yeah, I'll tell you what. I knew you used that. You were bragging about it. Jamie, I think, do you have that, Jamie?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Everybody says, and I kept using that 25. I got the 17, and now I can't. Now I don't want to take it off the camera.
Yep.
No, I don't. I only
man.
have 2 lenses. I just use that one 99% of the time.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's just the right width, and size and captures. So I'm really happy with for street shooting. This is the thing, because it seemed like cutting off just a little too much with the other ones. But and then this one here is shot with the 12-4. I was trying to do my best Chris Smith impersonation.
Yeah.
Chris has got an awesome shot.
This is awesome.
Yeah, his is it on the cover of your book?
No, but
No.
I try and show it to as many people as I
Yeah,
can.
I feel like I've seen it, but yeah, this one, obviously done on the streets and right there, obviously in the heart of Chicago. This right here would be a great photo walk for the Out of Chicago conference.
Yep.
With the Olympus, with going out there with EM1s and EM10s, this would be perfect, especially if it was a small group, because I actually was behind a construction site, and my wife was with me, and she was sort of watching my back so I didn't get hit by the large lights that you see go by there are actually buses.
Right.
And so you do need a little protection. And
How long
I don't
do you
know
figure this shot was, roughly?
This one wasn't too long. This one was maybe 2 minutes, and that's about it. 2 minutes with it going off every 1 second.
Okay.
And the only thing that's odd is this like looks like a portal was opening up there on the bottom left. I don't know what that was inside the streaks. I don't know if that was going into another world or what was happening there, but that's a little different. But yeah,
awesome.
it's a sharp shot. I really like going out and working with those streaks.
12mm, then I take it.
This is a shot. Yeah, the 12 to 40 pro lens, and this was out at 12mm on this.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah, thanks. And this is to just show anybody that says you can't shoot sports with an Olympus. I beg to differ. I've looked at my shots with my Nikon, and I've looked at my shots here, and I'm just as pleased. And last year I actually had to do a bunch of 36 by 24 blow-ups for the college of the girls, and got amazing results on the printouts actually too. So this one, just a good shot with the 12 to 40 Pro. It was shot at 3600 ISO.
Okay.
Very, very happy about probably 500th of a second or so.
Cool.
Yeah, real happy with that one. San Francisco, all this was within a week and a half, these travels.
Wow.
And then I was out in San Francisco and in Chinatown, and just like Chicago, there's no shortage of things to shoot in San Francisco. And just a great place to go. And when I saw these guys, obviously, if you've been there, you'll know the hills are a lot more than hills. They're very, very steep, and these guys coming up with the canes, they were walking slow enough that I could get them. But I think I came up with the name of the Cane Gang, which I actually liked almost better than the picture. I thought, oh, this is pretty cool.
So do you know what you're shooting with this one? What lens this is?
Yeah, the 17.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I'm probably never go out in the streets again without that 17 on.
Okay, so is that what you would consider probably now your go-to street shooting lens?
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Definitely, when you see Jamie and I are going to be putting out our top 10 lists of what we think we'd like for Christmas, I'm putting that one on.
Yeah.
Doing mine from a street shooting way, but yeah. So that's some of the last week and a half, 2 weeks of travel there coming up, and we got 3 more trips before Christmas. So
holy smokes!
I'm
freaking
sure
flyer
I
miles.
will see a couple other places.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure I will.
Jealous of your travels. That's really fun.
Yeah. I get a couple hours at night usually after work, and that's what I'll go do. So Chris, I know you got a mirrorless camera. You've already mentioned that. And so which one is it again?
EM10. Is that what you mean?
The EM10. The EM10. That's right. That's right. I do remember that you shooting with that.
Yeah. Well, I won't go into the whole story, but I wasn't when we were on our thing together.
Right.
But yes, that's what I'm using. EM10. I got the 17 millimeter, and then I got like the 40 to 150. It's like $150 and is a great lens. If I'm out there and I'm like, I want to shoot some architecture, and it's so easy to throw in the bag, just those 2 things. So next I got the fisheye though, and then that 12 to 40. That's next. Yeah,
definitely. That is definitely there. So let's see what. Now, did you say you had a question on the EM10 or not?
Oh, they're not gonna be things you want to hear. Okay, my main one.
We'll leave it there then.
So weird. I was doing this today. I was walking around. I was trying to do some street shooting. I'm shooting a couple buildings, but especially when I'm doing the street shooting, when I'm done, and I bring the camera back down to my side, it's like still playing like the live view on the back of it. Do you know what I mean? Like my Canon wouldn't do that. Like I feel like it's always showing up on the back of the thing. So if I'm trying to be discreet, I'm like walking around and it's still playing it on the back of it. And I know that's using up more battery as well too, which is an issue sometimes. So I don't know. Like, is there a different setting I should have so that when I'm not firing away, that will go away? I mean, I've tried doing it with that little button that's kind of off to the side of the viewfinder. Maybe it's different on the EM1, but that will make it so it only shows up through the viewfinder.
Yeah.
Right.
So what you're saying that you want to do is you want to have you compose for street shooting using the LCD on the back of the camera because you're shooting from your hip.
A lot of times, yeah.
Yeah, and then but when you're done shooting, you just want the camera to turn that display off.
Yeah, which I guess now that I say it, like in the middle of a live show like this, I'm like, well, that's the stupidest thing. How does it know if I want to take a picture or not? But
well, you know what you could do?
Something with a button, maybe, rather than having to turn the whole camera off.
Right. There's probably a couple of ways you could go about it. Neither one of them is going to be the ideal solution because they'll probably change the way that you work. But one that I would suggest maybe is to have a faster sleep cycle set up on your camera so that it sleeps quicker. But you're still going to have to wait a second for it to get into that mode where it sleeps and shuts that display off. But in the meantime, I mean, and this is totally the worst suggestion, but it'll work, is have your hand down at your side with your thumb over the eyepiece so that sensor picks it up. So what happens is,
good idea, yeah.
When your thumb's over it, it's going to think that it's your face, and it should shut the live view off and go to the internal EVF.
Dude, that's a great idea.
I mean, that's one way.
That's exactly how I walk around, Chris.
Really? Every
Really?
time?
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say always, always and forever, but if I'm doing like night shooting, because it's even more prevalent when you're doing night shooting, that
Oh,
thing will
holy
stay
cow,
on it,
yeah.
and people can really see it.
Yeah.
So I'll try to just keep my. It's real easy to do on the EM10, actually, easier than the 1,
Yeah.
because it's not as bulky on the grip.
Yeah.
So you can pull your thumb down as you walk, and actually you can sort of hook your thumb. My camera's up behind me there, but you can hook your thumb around it.
Yep. I kind of envision it if you're wearing it like sling style, so it's underneath your arm, and you just kind of had your hand resting on the body of the camera with your thumb just sort of resting over it.
Right.
Like I said, probably not the ideal solution, but I think it would work.
I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to stump you guys.
No, but I think it's like right like that. So your thumb's covering up some of
that sensor.
That's genius.
And it just takes, and you can barely have it there. You don't even have to put it over your LCD. You don't have to put it right over your.
Yeah, if you look at the lower right hand side of the EVF, you'll see that there are 2 sensors there, like you'd have on your iPhone.
Right.
So you just need to come in close proximity to those.
And I think.
Well, here, I'll give you an easier question. Oh no, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say the key in street shooting obviously is keeping your finger on the button, and you can still do that. I just want to prove that. Okay. All right.
I'll practice that tonight. That's what I do every time when I try and do something new. I'll just like go down in the basement and take pictures and practice. Don't tell anyone though. Okay, so I got a second one then for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Like, what do you guys find is the best way, especially for street shooting, to change your focus points? Do you use the back? Do you use the touch screen? Say, I know I've got someone coming down the street at me. I want them to be composed in the upper left-hand corner. I want to get my focus point there as fast as I can. Do you use the buttons or do you use the touch screen?
I think I'm not a street shooter, but just based off of what you said, my first thought is the touch screen, because you're seeing them move in real time, and as fast as the refresh is on that screen, it's darn near lagless. You can just touch the screen and be right on with it.
Yeah, if you're 2 things I would say, if you're shooting from the hip, it's hard to shoot. It's hard to really get your touch screen going and keeping your hand down and not looking at it and still trying to locate the person.
Gotcha.
But what I do is I've programmed one of the function buttons, function 2, which is right above the video button, and I have that go back to the home each time to take my focus point. So I know I'm going to be shooting in vertical when I'm shooting from my hip, so I'll have my focus point up in an area that I like before I start taking off, because I keep my hand in the side here. If I was standing, it'd be easier. And then if I all of a sudden want to get that focus point back to the middle, I hit the function 2 and it automatically jumps back to the middle and then jumps back up to the top. It's only two areas you can choose. But it's the same with sports. I do the same with sports. If I'm going to go landscape, I'll have the focus probably towards the middle or just 1 notch above. And then if I can quick flip it, and I'll go right back up to vertical, and it'll be 2 notches below the top.
Cool.
So I just keep flipping that button. So if I've got, I've got my, I don't know if I can cover the sensor and flip the button at the same time. I don't think my fingers are long enough for that. But I will say that I can just flip it back and forth from my trigger finger right to function 2 to go either to the middle or that. And if you're shooting in at 2.8 or 3.5 for depth of field, you're probably good. If you're shooting at down at 1.8, you might miss it.
Right.
You might miss it, but that's there's a lot of waste. You got to. I always say is like embrace the waste because you're gonna have it.
What you said about the function 2, that's another one of my favorite things about this camera, or either one of these, is just how customizable it is. It's like, I want this to be on this button, or even the dials, make them be whatever I want. I was using a friend's Fuji, and I love that camera too, but it's like every dial is perfectly set in place what it is, and you'll never change that. But my camera, set whatever dial I'd be what I want it to be. I love that.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite things about these cameras is that they are so customizable. It's insane. I mean, the downside to that is currently, sometimes with firmware updates, you'll lose those settings, and it can take you a while to go back and set it all up. But
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but the customizability definitely is a
And I think it's great because you also have, one day you're doing street shooting like any of us. We're doing street shooting, but the next day I'm shooting a college game, and it's got totally different settings, and I flip those around, whether it's in this My Set, application there within it, or, so you're set and ready to roll much easier and quicker than having to go through that menu, because the menus are interesting. Once you learn them, you're fine.
Well, if you want that kind of customization, though, you have to have all those options. I mean, you can't have it both ways.
I think exactly. So
what do you say, guys? Are you guys cool to wrap it up if we covered everything?
Oh, yeah.
Mike?
Yeah, this has been great.
Yeah, I do. And Chris, really appreciate you being on. I know I've been on your podcast before, and we definitely want to have you on again.
And I'll have you back on the podcast. Yeah, and Jamie, I have Jamie on the podcast is what I gotta have. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah.
Jamie on the podcast.
You gotta get Jamie on there. He definitely, and he can talk if you get. We'll let him talk about it this time at all, but you got to talk about the barn. That'll take 10 minutes right there.
Barn.
So
okay.
Yeah.
His Jamie's barn.
Things okay.
Yeah.
We'll do that. I'll have both you guys on. You talk. You can once you know more what you're going to be teaching exactly. Let people know what you're going to be doing, so they'll get excited.
Right.
You guys.
Sounds like a game plan, definitely.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Cool. Well, I guess we're going to wrap up episode 8. And again, I just want to thank Chris so much for coming on and letting everybody know about Out of Chicago and kind of building some early excitement for that event. I'm super ecstatic to be able to attend and present there. So
you guys are going to be great. We're so happy to have Olympus. It's going to be awesome.
Definitely will be a great time. So again, for everybody that watched or is watching after the fact, in the show notes, once this hits YouTube, I'll have links to the Out of Chicago Conference's website, to Chris's book, which when this concludes, I'm getting on and ordering right now. So again, thank you again, Chris, for coming on, and thanks, Mike, for taking the time. I know you've got a lot of family over this week, so I'll let you get back to them. You guys have a great Thanksgiving weekend. And
you too.
Thank you to everybody that tuned in, and those that are watching. Don't forget to subscribe, give us the like button, and share it with all your Mirrorless friends.
That's right. Thanks, guys.
Nice to see you again.
All right. See you later.